Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of TQM Trims. Today is Saturday, August 17th, so this will be our first actual full week cover. It's going to be a pretty short episode because there's really not a whole lot to talk about, but we're going to go into whatever I can remember. So there is one exciting thing about this episode though, and that's actually going to be what I'm actually currently recording on. So in the past, I would either record using my Sony a6400 with these Rode Wireless Go microphones here, and that's been a pretty good system. I do enjoy using it a lot. It's pretty small. But I would find, especially like when we were in Japan, I found it to be a hassle to dig into my backpack to get the camera out, get the microphones connected on the camera, then use the little tripod to hold the camera, and then it was just a little bit of a hassle, so I wanted something even smaller. And so towards the end of our trip in Japan, what I ended up doing was I would actually use the DJI Osmo Pocket as my video camera, and then I would actually connect these microphones to my Sony a7 III, which is the camera that I just sort of was wearing the whole trip anyway, because that's my photography camera. And so I would always have that camera on, and I would just record the audio to that camera. And that's actually what I did with episode 2. So I was actually recording with the Osmo Pocket, and then I was using the a6400 as my audio receiver effectively, because I don't have a recorder or anything right now. But I finally got the DJI microphone adapter for the Osmo Pocket. I have my Wireless Go microphone mounted in this little bracket I got from someone on eBay. They also have an Etsy store. I'll link that down below. And here's what it looks like right now. So I'll show that off. Here it is. And this is a pretty nice, compact, small setup. I was a little worried about it at first because the adapter does hang off the edge of the Osmo Pocket, but with this little adapter I got from, I believe it's called Aerial Photography or something like that. It'll be down below. I forgot what it was called, but it's awesome. It's really cool. It keeps the microphone adapter nice and safe while I'm using it, and I'm really happy with this setup so far. I'm actually recording this video in 4K 60p. That's another change that I'm going to be making to all of my vlogs, is I'm going to be shooting in 60 frames a second rather than in 30 frames a second. And that's just because when I'm doing a sweeping pan or something, which I do a lot, especially with travel vlogs, it'll have a little bit smoother motion. I noticed there were a few scenes in my vlog episodes from Japan where I would do a pan across something and it would be a little choppy. So here's what that would look like now. So as you can see, if I do a nice pan like this, it's nice and smooth. So I'm pretty excited about trying this out a little bit more. I hope it works out. The only problem with using 60p is that my Sony a7 III and my a6400, which I will still plan on using here and there, especially for more like talking head segments and things like that, they can only do 60 frames a second and 1080p, so it's going to be a little bit lower quality, but overall I think with YouTube, shooting in 1080p is going to be just fine. So I'm pretty excited about trying that out though. Biggie Loaf, you're such a loaf, Farah. You're so cute. Oh my goodness, you're so cute. I'm gonna come in for pets. Yeah, let's get some pets. Oh, look at this. No, I thought you were gonna wag your tail, but you didn't because you're so lazy. You'll wag your tail. There you go. You're so cute, Farah. So I did remember to weigh myself today, and I'm currently sitting at 292.6. So I lost about 2 pounds or so over the course of the past week, which is good, especially after you hear some of the stories I have as far as my exercise and diet is concerned for the week. But I'm so happy that I am losing weight. So this week was a pretty eventful week for me because on Tuesday the 13th, that was actually my birthday. So for my birthday dinner, we decided to cook up a couple of steaks, which were absolutely delicious, but I did eat a really big steak, so I'm definitely sure that that's where some of my weight increase came back up with that extra pound. But I tried to make up for it over the course of the rest of the week. So for example, I had another steak left over for lunch, and I actually only would eat half of that for one meal for 2 days. So I was actually pretty proud of myself for that. There's also one day this week where I didn't do any physical activity, and I kept thinking, I was like, I need to do something, and then I just got really tired pretty early, like 9, 10 o'clock at night, which is pretty early for me. So I totally just ended up forgetting to do it, but I did only miss one day of that. But when I did do exercise this week, I did end up doing a little bit more variety. I would still take one of the dogs out on a walk here and there, but I did a little bit more calisthenics. I did some squats one day, which actually, it shows how out of shape I am because I just did one day of squats. I did maybe 30 squats or so, and my legs were actually pretty sore after just doing that alone. So it'll be something that I continue to do in order to increase muscle strength. I also did a little bit more strenuous cardio. I did some sort of stair climbs, that sort of thing, a little bit faster than just a leisurely walk in the neighborhood. So that got the heart pumping a little bit more. My physical activity for today is going to be more of a something that I just have to do. It's actually going to just be cutting the grass for a little bit because we actually got some new grass put in here, as you can see. So on the right side of the yard, we had this sod. This is all new sod, the whole yard. The right side here was put in maybe a month ago. And then we decided that we actually wanted the whole yard done. So we got the left side done just recently, but now this side's growing out and the front yard's pretty long. So I'm just gonna be cutting the grass for about 30 minutes to an hour or so. And I'm gonna count that as my physical activity for today. Another thing that I'm actually pretty proud of myself at, so far at least, is for the past couple of days, for some reason, I've just been like craving a chocolate shake. Like I just really want a chocolate shake for some reason. And so far, I haven't gotten one. I came really close late last night at 11 o'clock. I drove over to my parents' house for a second to go get some cardboard boxes. And then on my way back, I was like, oh, Baskin Robbins is right down the road. I can go get a chocolate shake. No one has to know. And I almost went and did it. But two things stuck out to me. One, I don't need a chocolate shake. I'll be okay. And two, it was like really late at night. So even if I did end up getting a chocolate shake or something later, I'd rather do it during the day. So that way I can burn off those calories as I'm walking around and doing things later in the day. I definitely don't want to do something like that really late at night where I'm going to be going to sleep soon after and then just letting those calories sit in my body. So I'm pretty proud of myself so far. I haven't done that. I actually came home and I had some peaches, so I ate one of those instead. So I got my sweet fix in still. All right, so one more pretty big thing that I'm pretty excited for is for my birthday, my parents actually got me a gift card to a place called Fleet Feet nearby. And apparently they'll actually measure out your feet in order to find a shoe size that fits you. I'm sure most shoe places do this, but honestly, usually I just go to the store, buy some size 13s and hope they work. And honestly, a lot of the shoes that I've bought, especially for exercise or walking or running, that sort of thing, they're always a little too small and my feet end up hurting after using them for an extensive period of time. So I'm pretty excited for using those. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for getting me that. And hopefully we get something cool and something that fits. Look at this lazy biggie loaf. Hey, Vera. Hello. Oh, look, Zelda's coming too. Hey, Zelda. Hey. Oh, who's that I hear? Oh, there's Evie. Come on, Evie. Come here. Oh, Vera says, I don't want to be a loaf anymore. Okay. All right, so for this week, I'm doing a little more of the same. I'm not actually planning on doing an increased intensity or anything yet because this past week, I will say, was a bit of a struggle. I definitely had a lot less motivation than when I first got started to get out and do some sort of exercise, which is probably why I missed that one day. I do feel myself getting into a routine with it though. And once I sort of develop that routine, then it'll just feel normal to me. It's just something I expect to do. So I don't want to keep pushing myself too hard to a point where I'm just gonna fall off the wagon and not wanna do it. So again, we're gonna do one type of physical activity a day. And again, continue to try to eat less. I do have one trip this week out of town for work. So I'll be able to test myself once again to see if I'm able to eat a little less while I'm traveling for work. It's actually gonna be a pretty lengthy trip because I actually have to fly out to Pennsylvania in the morning, do a little bit of site work, and my flight coming home isn't until 7:30 at night on the same day. So it's a pretty long day. So it'll be a pretty interesting test. And outside of that though, I don't have any big plans. At some point, we're gonna go get those new running shoes and see how they work when we walk around. And other than that, there's really no big changes. So I think I'm gonna end the episode here right now. I'm gonna get to cutting my grass today, and then we'll see you guys next week. Everyone, thank you for all the encouragement I'm getting so far. All my friends and family, that's everyone telling me I'm doing a good job. My parents even were like, on my birthday, they're like, we were gonna go get you a cookie cake or something, but we saw your videos and we didn't want to ruin anything. And I was like, no, I totally would have eaten that cookie cake. I don't know what you're talking about, but thanks Mom and Dad again for all the support and for helping me continue on this track. So we'll see you guys next week on TQM Trims. Until then, cheers.